What's up, party people? My name is Daryl Wilson, and today I'm going to give you guys a complete breakdown and tutorial of the Blocksy theme. Now, the Blocksy theme is one of the best versatile and overall free WordPress themes I've ever come across. We created an e-commerce website with it. We also created an Amazon affiliate website with it, and just a general WordPress website using the Blocksy theme. Now, if you're a first-time user of the Blocksy theme, I gotta be honest, it can be a bit overwhelming using the Blocksy theme because it is packed with options. So in this video, I'll give you guys a complete breakdown of how to use the Blocksy theme step by step. First, I'll be walking you through the general settings, explaining to you how each of the general settings work. Then I'll explain how to build a customizable header for your website and also a customizable footer for your website as well. Next, I'll be walking you through how to use the blog post features. The Blocksy theme is arguably one of the best WordPress themes for blogging, so I'll cover how you can utilize Blocksy and make your blog look amazing. Then I'll be walking you through the special settings like the page settings, the product reviews, and the core extensions for Blocksy, along with the WooCommerce options. The WooCommerce options are packed with customizable features, so I'll be walking you through how to customize your shop page, your product pages, and other various parts of your websites. Now, for those of you who are on the fence about purchasing Blocksy, you're not really sure, I'll be covering the Pro features that come with Blocksy. Not everyone really needs the Pro version, so I'll be covering the Pro features in this video. And if you guys do decide to purchase the Pro, I will leave a 10% discount in the description below of this video. Also, if you guys know how some parts work, not to worry, I have timestamps in the description of this video, so feel free to jump to any part of this tutorial at any time. So with that said, let's get started. All right, so right now I have a blank installation and we're going to install the Blocksy theme. Now there is a link below to download Blocksy theme. However, you can also download Blocksy by just going to your appearance and themes. I know, pretty basic, right? You know how to, install Blocksy, but just in case there's people out there who have been drinking and are not sure where to find Blocksy, you can actually just go to add new, and then under search themes, you'll just type in Blocksy. So this is the WordPress theme. So right here, I'll click on activate it. So when you install Blocksy, you'll get this Activate Blocksy Companion plugin, and I highly recommend to activate this plugin. This will give you more extensions and features for the Blocksy theme. Now right here we have the home. This is where you can actually get starter websites where they have templates. I do have a tutorial on product reviews where we build an Amazon affiliate website, and I do also have an e-commerce tutorial where we use the modern shop for creating our e-commerce website. But right now, I'll just go ahead and import this travel website just to get us started, just so we can see what we're working with here. So under travel, under imports, I'll click on imports. Now we can choose to have a child theme or not. Essentially what this does is a child theme protects your website from updates. So let's say there is an update and that update breaks something. If you have a child theme, you'll usually be able to protect your current work. So I'll go ahead and click on activate child theme and click on next. And you can choose a page builder. I do like Brizy and I also do like Elementor. So it really depends on what you want to go with. But here I'll just click on Elementor. I will install these necessary plugins and then I will click on install. So as of right now, it's installing a fresh website on our current WordPress website. So just give it like a minute. All right, so we can view our website. So let's click on view sites. And ta-da. Now, if this doesn't work for you, you guys can always just go ahead and try it again. But that's how you guys can import a starter website. Now, there's also other extensions, and this is something like, MailChimp subscribe, cookies consent. We'll talk more about all this a little bit later. I just want to just kind of touch base on where some of the settings are and why we installed the actual companion plugin. So now let's talk about the actual customizer settings. So in this section, we're going to be talking all about the general options for the customizer option. So over here, we'll click on customize. All right, cool. And the one thing I like about Blocksy is that they've actually labeled it. So here we have general options, and these right here are the general options. So this will control the header, the footer, the sidebars, the color topography, and also they have some performance features. And then right here we have the posts, which are your blog posts and your single posts, and also your pages. So right here, you guys can go ahead and mess around with these settings for posts and pages. And then there's other things like core and visitor engagement. And we'll cover all of this a little bit later in the video. But first things first, we'll talk about the general options. Now I like the dark mode here. So I'll click on the dark mode settings. And I do like that. So I think this is a little bit easier on the eye. So yeah, so first thing, we have all these general options. Now you guys can get a good understanding of the general options just by kind of tinkering around with some. However, there are some options that you might not be aware of because you have to have specific settings for those options. So first, let's talk about layout. So for the maximum site width, you can actually change the actual site width right here, which, if you want to do that, you can go ahead and do that. However, the page builder also controls the width of the website, so that's strictly up to you. Now, there are some settings that I do find beginners get confused about, like the narrow container max width and the wide alignment offset. Now, these options are only if you have a narrow page width structure. So to get that option, or to actually see and kind of mess around with that, you'll first have to actually close this, and you'll have to go to edit page. So right here, I'll click on edit page. And on the right side, we have page structure. Now, by default, we're going to use whatever the theme customizer is on. However, if you want to change the page structure, like narrow width, this is where you can actually change the width of the page if you want to have a custom page structure for each individual page. However, by default, all the pages will have the inherit from customizer option, but if you want to have a specific page with a specific format, you can go ahead and do that. So right here, I'll go to narrow width and I'll click on update. Now let's click on view the page. And now you guys can see that we have this narrow width. Now in the customizer options, now we can actually design this. So over here under the actual general, under the layout, now the narrow width container max width can be applied. So now we can actually change it. So these options are for only specific page style. So again, just remember that the narrow container max width, this is only for narrow width. And also the wide alignment offset, this is only for elements that have a wide alignment option. So just to be clear that there are some conditions to be met in order for all of these settings to work. So let's go ahead and change it back. So to change everything back, I'll go over here and click on refresh and click on confirm. So next, let's talk about breadcrumbs. Now, breadcrumbs are probably one of the more confusing aspects of Blocksy. However, it integrates really well with Yoast. So for example, if you see breadcrumbs, you might notice that they don't really appear on your blog by default, and that's because you need to install an SEO plugin that is suitable that allows breadcrumbs. So you can see here how I have breadcrumbs right here, and if I click on this design type, you guys can see how it actually changes right here in between the blog right there. So let's see if it goes back to that. And this will have that little dash. So if you do want to activate breadcrumbs on your pages and your post, you can do that. A lot of bloggers prefer to have breadcrumbs just because it helps the users navigate to other parts of the website. But however, the first thing you're going to have to do to get breadcrumbs is you're going to have to install an SEO plugin like Yoast. So let me go ahead and just walk you through on the option really quick, because it actually is a little confusing at first, even for myself. So you'll have to install a plugin like Yoast, right? Now under Yoast, you'll go to search appearance. Now, whatever SEO plugin that you're using, you will have to activate the breadcrumbs. Now, I believe right here it's under breadcrumbs, and you'll have to activate it. So just make sure that you have breadcrumbs enabled for your certain whatever that you're using. It could be Rank Math, it could be Yoast, it could be All-in-One SEO, but I'm not really sure on which one you're using, but that's how you would activate it. Once you actually activate the breadcrumbs for your SEO plugin, you will then go ahead and go back to the actual general options, and under breadcrumbs, now you'll see breadcrumbs source. So what you'll do is that you'll actually select the actual breadcrumb source just to make sure that it integrates well with your SEO plugin. You'll click on publish. Now here I'll go back to the blog. Now there is one more thing you'll have to do. So you guys can see that the breadcrumbs are working. However, what we're going to have to do is we're going to have to enable the breadcrumbs on the blog post. So we'll have to kind of jump over here to the blog post right here. And under the blog post, we're going to click on the blog title, and you're going to want to make sure that this element under breadcrumbs is visible. So you can see by default it's not visible, and that's because Blocksy doesn't really know which plugin that you're using, so they just disabled it. So in order to disable or to enable breadcrumbs, you will have to go ahead and uncheck that for the blog title, and then you'll do the same thing for the actual single posts. For the single post as well, you will have to go ahead and enable the breadcrumbs so that they can be displayed on your blog. So yeah, the breadcrumbs at first can be a little confusing at first, and I myself was as well. You'll just have to go through some hoops to get it all set up and done. So now let's talk about buttons. Now the buttons will be displayed on various parts of your website, just depending on the features and the options that you set. So for example, like the read more on the blog, that is a button, the search box, and also on the contact form. So you can see we have this button right here that's made by Blocksy, and you can design that under the buttons tab. You'll have to just kind of go through your website and navigate where the buttons may be, just depending on where you selected them. So right here we have the initial, and this is the initial color of it. So here you can see we're changing the initial color of the actual button. And the second color, I guess you want to say, is the hover option. And this is going to be throughout the whole website. So if I hover over it, then it'll change color. So that's just what that's referring to. And then you can always change the border radius, which is the box of it. And then you can have that hover effect, which is how it hovers over like that. And then you can also make it bigger or smaller. So that's just some clarifications on the button. And if you want to go ahead and change the background to the default, you can click on that, and that would just change it back. Also the font color, just remember you can change the specific font color as well for all of your buttons on your current websites. So now we have the entry content elements. So the entry content elements are specifically for your blog posts if you are using Gutenberg. In fact, these options are primarily for Gutenberg because the page builder already does most of the work. So if you're using Gutenberg and also you're using Gutenberg for your posts, you can change the content spacing. Now, essentially what this does is that it just adds padding to it. So here we have compact, we have comfortable, and then also we have spacious. So you can see how it's just adding a little bit of space between that. The left and right block offset just allows a little bit more space on the left and the right side for your specific post, or if you are using the actual Gutenberg builder. And then we have link types. Now the link types refer mostly to your actual links on your website, and they're just different ways of presenting your links. So for example, we have link 1, right? We have link 2. Now we have the underline option. So the link type 1 didn't have the underline. Now let's go to type 3, and now you'll see it has this animation over it. And then type 4. It's pretty cool, right? And then we also have type 5. So that's just a little rundown of the links and what they do. So let's go back up here, and let's go back over here. And now we have form elements. So let's go back to our contact page. So the form elements will control your contact forms on your website. And this is really cool because a lot of these contact forms, they either can't be changed, and a lot of them require the pro version. So Blocksy allows you to kind of design all of these. Now here we have this this classic where it's like this box look, and we also have this modern style. You can also change the font size. Now the font size only applies to whatever you're typing within these actual spaces here. So you can see how the font size gets bigger. So if you want to go ahead and adjust it, you can do that. And then we have the border color, the border size, the input height. So these options you can kind of mess around with to see what you want to do with your contact form. But this is what the form elements is applying to. It's applying to any contact form on your WordPress website. Next, we have the scroll to top. So the scroll to top option will allow you to have this cool little scroll to top on the bottom right. Now you have to actually close Blocksy and then open it for it to appear, but let me just go ahead and give you a quick demonstration of it. So I'll click on scroll to top. Now here we have the rockets. Now you can change the rocket to any specific style and type. You can change the size, and the design tab allows you to change the color and also add a box shadow around the icon on the bottom right. So first, let's go ahead and make this appear. So I'll click on publish, and I'll close the theme customizer. Now I'll scroll down the page, and now you'll see we have this icon on the bottom right. So if it doesn't appear, you'll just have to close your theme customizer in order for it to display. So now that we have the icon showing, here we can design it. So we can change the color, we can change the shape. So we have initial, and we also have the hover. And you can also add a drop shadow around it if you want to add a drop shadow, and you can go ahead and change the drop shadow for your specific read more, or I'm sorry, scroll to top little button there. So let's go back over here. And again, remember, if you want to change the size of it, you can change all of the options for that specific icon right here under the general tab. I'll click back. Now we have a website frame, and this is really cool. I do like this option. I just wish it had a gradient feature. So if I click on this, you will then see that our website has this border around it on the website, which looks really nice. Now you might want to change the frame color to something like black, or you can change it to something like green or whatever color you want to do. You can change it like that. And this works for a lot of websites. You know, I think it's nice. I'm just hoping they introduce something like a, you know, like a gradient. I think a gradient would be really nice. But yeah, so that's exactly what the website frame does. Now, let's say, for example, you've done a lot of options with Blocksy and you want to save it and you want to put it on another website. Here you can actually click on this little import export tab and you can export these customization options. You can export the customizer settings and also the widgets and then click on export. And then on the bottom right screen, you'll see that we have these options being exported. Now, if you want to import those options, duh, right? It's right here. So just click on import customizations, and then you'll just go ahead and upload the file right here, and you'll just go ahead and upload the actual file right here. I think it's a DAT file. So that's what that's referring to. So yeah, that's how you can import and export your options for the Blocksy theme. So that's pretty much it for the basic general options. Now let's go ahead and move on to the actual other options like the header and the footer, where things can get a little bit more trickier and a little bit more dynamic. So first, let's click on the header options. Now the header with Blocksy is very versatile, and remember, there are always 3 rows, all right? There's a top row, there's a main row, and then there's a bottom row. Now each of these rows has different options, or you can add different options. So for example, if you want to add social icons to the top row, you can drag and drop these elements on the left side. And then right here, you'll see how we have these icons appearing. And you can actually change the style and design of each row. And then here we have another menu. I'll take menu 2 and I'll drag it right here. And now we have 3 rows. So we have the top row, the middle row, and then we have the actual bottom row. Now, whenever you want to design any elements within these rows, you'll just double click or just click once on whatever tab. And then you'll see you have all these customizable options. So now we can have Facebook, Twitter, Instagram. We can also add Pinterest and any other of these other social networks. You can change the icon size and all of these other options for each specific element as well. Now remember, the General tab controls the general structure of the actual elements. The Design tab controls the color and also the transparent and default state. So for example, right now, we are in the default states. Now, what's really cool about Blocksy is that you can actually design specific elements while they are in a specific state. So right now, we can see our menu is transparent, right? But here we have the default state and transparent state. So for the icons at the top, since we're in a transparent state, I want to change it to black. You see that? So right now, they're in black and they stay black. And if I want to have the hover while it's in a transparent state, I can change that to something like white. And now you'll see that it turns white because remember, it's in a transparent state at the current moment. So that's a pretty cool option. You can actually change the conditions for your elements depending on what kind of state it's in. Now let's say, for example, we have menu 1. Let's just click on menu 1. And here we have other options. So we have menu type 1, menu type 2, menu type 3, and then menu type 4. So every one of these just offers a different style of your menu. You guys can kind of, get an idea just by messing around with it. You guys can also control the item spacing and then also the height of the current menu as well. Now you can also assign specific menus here. So we have menu 1, but if you have other menus, you can select your specific menu and then you can go ahead and customize these other options. Now remember, when you are designing your menus, you guys can see we have the Design tab, and just depending on what state it's in, we can design it for that specific state. So for example, the font color. So you guys can see here how Blocksy has already changed the font color to a white. And let's say, for example, I want to change this to a black while it's in a transparent state. If I hover over it, then it'll be black like that. And if I change it back to something like white, you guys will see that now when I hover over it, it has this white color to it. So remember, you guys can change the specific color and the style for everything while it's in a specific state. And then you guys can go ahead and go through these other options. So the drop-down options, this is referring to if you have a drop-down menu, you guys can go ahead and change the actual background of the actual drop-down menu. So now let's take off the transparent header. So I want to kind of go through each row and design each specific row. So under the header option, under global header, I'm going to go ahead and turn off the transparent functionality. So now I want to be able to design each specific row, right? So to design the color of each specific row, so you have this top row. I'll go ahead and click on this gear icon and we can change this to full width or default, just depending on how many social icons or how many elements you have within a specific row. Now here we have the design. We can change this row to something like a gradient, right? So now it's in this gradient state. And then for the second row, I'll click on main row, and we can change this specific row to something like, I don't know, teal or something. I don't know. This menu is so ugly, but I'm just giving you guys an example. And then we also have the bottom row as well, and we can change the actual style of the bottom row. So over here, I'll just leave it out as white. You guys get the point, right? And then you can add other options for each row. So you can add a top border, which is just like a little border right here. You guys can faintly see it. You guys can also increase the size of that specific border as well. So now you can kind of see we have this gray border on the top. And then you can also change the bottom border. So you can do the same thing for the bottom. And you can also add a drop shadow to each specific row if you want to do that. So you guys can see there is a lot of customization options with Blocksy. And in the Pro version, you do get a lot more elements that you can use to drag in for your headers in the Pro version, but that's what you get in the free. To be honest, the free version is very generous. They do give you a lot in the free version, but let's just go ahead and change all of this back right here. So under the top row, what I'll do is under the design, I'll just click on this refresh here and just change everything back. So main row, design, right? There we go. And then also the bottom row, design, and then we also have the, where was it? It was the background or the top row. There we go. So that's how you guys can go and revert everything back to default settings. So now that I've shown you guys a little bit about how to customize the actual menu, let's talk about a sticky menu. So you notice when I scroll down right here, nothing really happens, and we can enable a sticky menu with Blocksy, and we can also design that sticky menu while it's in a specific sticky state. So let me just give you an example to let you know what I'm talking about here. So under the actual header, I'll click on global header and I'll click on sticky functionality. So what this is going to do is that it's going to create this sticky right here. So if they scroll down, they will always have this menu displayed for them. And you can change the actual style of what you want to show. So for example, I introduced you guys to the top row, the main row, and the bottom row. These options are referring to having only specific rows being available in sticky states. So this is the top and the main row. So with this option, only the top row and the main row will be displayed. Now all rows, this means all 3 rows will be displayed in a specific sticky state as well. You just gotta wait sometimes for it to show up. There we go. And then we have the main and the bottom row. So the main row and this row only. So we're excluding the top row. And this one is top row only. And then, yeah, if you guys are kind of getting it as we go. And now we have sticky effect. So this just kind of adds an animation style to your menus when the sticky menu is being applied. Now we also have a transparent functionality. So you guys can actually have specific transparent sticky menus if you want to go that route. So that's just an example of the actual sticky menu and the transparent menu and how you can turn it on and off. Now let's talk about one more option, which is the display conditions for your headers. So let's go ahead and go to headers, right? Global headers. And here I'll go ahead and scroll down. And now you can see we have this display conditions, and that display conditions displays because we have the transparent functionality being displayed. Now, you can actually have specific transparent menus on specific pages if you want to achieve that. So for example, we have the transparent functionality on, right? But where do I want the transparent menu to be applied? Well, I'll click on add conditions, and here we can actually include or exclude the transparent header conditions. For example, let's say I do not want the transparent menu being applied on the home page. I will exclude it on the home page. However, I want the transparent menu to be applied on all these other pages. You can also include posts, post archives, and pretty much all of your other archive pages as well. But just to keep this simple, I'm just going to say I want to exclude the transparent menu on the home page. So what that's going to do is that's going to force Blocksy to use the default settings for the header for our home page. So whatever we set right here, it's going to apply for only our home page. So let me just go ahead and clear this up, make it look a little bit cleaner, and I will publish this. So now let's test it. Let's see if that works. So the conditions I have basically says this header should be applied only to our home page. However, if we go to any of these other pages, the transparent menu should be applied. So now you guys can see that the transparent menu is being applied to all of our other pages except the home page. So in reality, you have a sort of theme builder for your header. So the Blocksy theme gives you a lot of control over your header, and that's why I really like this WordPress theme. Now let's go ahead and go back to our customizer. So in a nutshell, that's basically the header builder. Now remember, for every element within the header, you can double click and there are customizable options for that specific icon. Now I'm not going to go through every icon. You guys can kind of just go through those on your own time and mess around with it. However, let's now talk about the off-canvas menu for the mobile header. So if I click on mobile header right here, you're going to notice that we have a different style header. So we have this mobile header. Now what we can do here is that first off, we can actually change this little hamburger menu. So here under trigger, we can actually change the type of this. We can change the outline, make it solid, and we can also add a text to this specific trigger label as well. So if I turn this on, you'll see now it says menu, and we can change this to the left or to the right, or we can just put something like click me, all right? And then that would be our current menu. So that's if you want to have a trigger label as well for mobile users. And under the design tab, you can also design this. Now you can also design it for the default state. If you have a transparent menu, you can design the initial and also the hover. And then also for sticky menus. So if you have this as a sticky menu, you guys can also change the sticky state as well. And remember, you can design or you can enable the sticky and the transparent menu right here. So you can turn it on and off right here if you want to go ahead and have a mobile header or sticky for your website. So there's just a lot you can do with the actual, off-canvas menu. So now that we clicked on the off-canvas menu, we can actually design it here. And then we can also change the general tab to like bordered. So to see that, you'll click on this and now you'll see that this is bordered, or we can have it default. I do like that look a lot. And then for the design, you guys can change the design right here, like the font, the color, and just, the divider size as well. You guys can also select the specific menu for the off-canvas menu. So let's say, for example, you want to have a specific menu only for mobile users. That's cool. You can have a specific menu only for your off-canvas menu. Now, one thing too I want to let you guys know is that you guys can actually add more elements to your off-canvas menu. There's no limitation with Blocksy. So let's say I want to add a button. So I'll take button right here and I'll just drag it in there like that. And now we got this button. And then we can design it, add a ghost button or, a full button. And then under HTML, which is text, I can go ahead and drag that above here. So I can make this say something like, I don't know, like welcome to our website. And then for the design tab, we can go ahead and design it. We can change it to white. You can also add media to your specific off-canvas menu. So I just got to be honest, there's so much you can do with this theme. It's pretty crazy. And then you can kind of drag and drop more elements within your off-canvas menu to make it look however you want. So in a nutshell, guys, that is the Blocksy header explained. You'll just have to kind of go through each option and just decide how you want to build your header. The header is very robust. It's very dynamic. There's a lot you can do with the header. And so on your own time, feel free to go and check those out. I have explained all of the features. So now that we talked about the header, now let's talk about the footer builder. Now the footer builder for Blocksy works the same exact way for the header. You're going to notice that we have the same exact option. So you have the top row, you have the middle row, and you also have the bottom row. And if you click on any of these elements here, you're going to see that you can design it just like you can for the header. So guys, just to be clear, the header and the footer options are identical. However, there are widget areas that you can use with Blocksy. So for example, we have widget area 1, and this is where you can add specific widgets. So you can add an About Us, achievements, or click on Add a Widget. You can add a Facebook like box. You can add any of these elements you want. And I'm sure you guys have seen widgets before. So widgets are essentially just little things you can add to your footer. So you can have a second area widgets, a third area, and also a fourth area. and you can add any widget you want. So you can add a Facebook like box, you can add a contact info, you can add a, I don't know, a video. If you want to add a video, you can go ahead and add in a specific video and just add in the video there, and then it'll appear on your specific footer. So remember, this is the widget area 1, widget area 2, widget area 3, and widget area 4. So that's what this is all controlling. So that's pretty much the same thing, guys. I'm not really going to go into the footer too much because it's identical to the actual header. And remember, under the footers, you can have a global footer, and you can change the actual footer background. So that's just something that you might want to consider. And you can actually have a reveal effect for specific devices. So for example, I do want to cover that. I'll click on this little computer, and now when I scroll down, you'll notice how this kind of reveals the footer. So it kind of adds this parallax effect to it. Now you can have this on the tablet, on the phone, and also on the computer. And you can also adjust the shadow as well. So for example, see if I scroll down, it has this shadow right here, and this is the reveal effect. So if you want to have this reveal effect, you can go ahead and add that. Maybe here I can give you guys a little bit more of a demonstration. There we go, like this, see? So that's what the reveal effect is. And if I turn them off, you'll see that it's gone. So that's just what that is. A pretty cool feature. I do like that option. So if you do want to customize your footer, that's how you would do it. So now let's talk about the sidebar. Now, first, the sidebar must be activated in order for you to first customize your sidebar. So the sidebar will generally appear on your blog or also your blog posts. So here I have blog posts, right? So this is my current blog post. Now, in order for me to first design it, I must include the left sidebar or the right sidebar. So if I have it under the normal width, I can't really customize the sidebar because I don't have it. So to turn on the sidebar, you'll have to first select the right sidebar or the left sidebar. Once you do that for your single post or your blog, then you can go back to the sidebar. I know Blocksy is kind of like you have to kind of go somewhere, turn it on, and come back. I do wish they would make it a little bit more kind of all in one, but it's actually really easy once you get the hang of it. So now that we have a sidebar right here, we have 4 different options. We have type 1, type 2, type 3, which adds this really cool line right there, and also type 4. Now, each of these actually can be customized and designed. So for example, let's just go to type 3 because this is the best kind of preview on it. So we also have other options like the sidebar width. You can change the actual sidebar width. You can change the gap. You can change how much space is within the actual sidebar as well. And you can also have a really cool sticky sidebar. So this means the sidebar will actually stick with the user as the user scrolls throughout the blog post. And I actually have this on my current WordPress website. So I do find that feature is really cool and also really helpful. Now, one thing to note also is that depending on which blog, type you select, different options will appear on the design tab. So for example, if I go to the design tab right here, I can't customize the background color because that's what style 3, that's what it offers us. However, you can see type 4, how it has that black kind of background color. So now under the design tab, if I go to background color, you'll see it's available, and I can change this to have a specific sort of background color for our current blog post. So I do like this feature. And remember that I think it's for blog posts 2 and 4 that you will get the background color option to be displayed. So if you do want to go ahead and have that on your website, you can go ahead and do that. Then you can also change the widget title font color. So instead of black, you can change to something like white. And then also we have the widget fonts, and then we have the widget font color. So the widget font color is the widgets within the actual, I guess you want to say, sidebar here. So we have the initial text, change it to something like white, right? Which is the widgets, right? And then you also have the link initial. So these are links. You can change those also to white. And then you also have the link hover. So that means when they hover over it, we can change it to something like black maybe, right? Like black. So now it changes to black. So it just depends on how you want to kind of, achieve whatever style you want to design. But that's the sidebar explained. Each option, again, I think 2 and 4 allow you to have a background color, and 1 and 4 do not. So that's just something to consider if you want to have a specific background for your sidebar. Next, we have colors, and colors basically change the color palette of your current websites. Now, the color palettes will be displayed on archive pages, searches pages, 404 pages, and also your blog pages as well. So let's say, for example, you want to change the color palette to something like blue. We now have this blue color palette, right? And we also have color palette 3, and you can kind of see how the website kind of changes basically depending on what color palette you want to achieve. Now you can also change the global colors for each specific element on your current website. Let's say, for example, you have an H1 or H2 tag or H3 tag. You can actually change it right here on your, on your website. The link color. So if you have links on your website, like I think we do right here, right? Let's see, we have a link color. Yeah, right here. So these are links. If you want to change these colors, we can change them to something like black, right? And if they hover over it, I can change them to white. So now they turn white when we hover over it. And there's just some other general options that you might want to mess around with if you want to mess around with the global colors instead of having to go to every part of your website and changing them manually. So that's just a quick rundown of colors. So next we have the typography, and the typography allows you to change the fonts based off of specific features. So let's say, for example, you have a heading 1 text in your blog post. This can actually be changed right here. And then your H2, your H3, H4. So that means whenever you're writing a blog post and you change it to a specific tag, you can actually change them here globally by default instead of having to manually change them all. You can also change the base font of your website. So for example, if we can do something like, I don't know, Lucida, you can see here how all of the fonts are changing on the website. Now, I believe this right here is an H1 tag. So for the H1 tag, we can change this to something like, something like that. And any other tags that you add in your website or on your blog post, they can all be adjusted right here. You can also change the specific fonts of the buttons, the block quotes, which are the quotes within the sidebar, and then just some other options right here. So you can change all the typography from right here on your current WordPress websites. And lastly, under the general options, Blocksy does have some performance features. I'm not really sure what this does, to be honest. I'm sure in certain situations on certain websites, it might be necessary. However, for the emoji script, you guys can disable emojis. People believe that emojis slow your website down. So people who are on mobile will put emojis. You can actually disable emojis on your website. And you can also have lazy load on your website. So what lazy load does essentially is that when you scroll on a website, your website will automatically load everything. But with lazy load, it'll actually not load anything until the user scrolls, which can put less strain on your server. So lazy load can speed up websites, and there are some plugins that have lazy load on it. However, the Blocksy theme has it by default. So if you want to have lazy load on your website, you can enable it right there. So that's just a quick rundown, guys, of the general options. I know at first it can be a little confusing, but I hope I was very clear, and I hope you guys understand how to use the general options. Now let's go ahead and move on to the next section, and let's talk about the post types. In this section, we'll be talking all about post types, the blog post, the category, and other various archive pages for the blog post. So first, let's just talk about the actual blog post style. So if you click on blog post right here, this is the actual presentation of your actual blog. So for example, we have this simple structure, we have this classic structure, and you can kind of go through these and just seeing, which one's for you and, how you want to design your specific blog page. Also, next we have card options. Now, the card options will basically display the number of posts and the number of posts per page. You can also disable or enable specific elements on the actual blog page. So for example, we have this, we have this title right here. We can take out the excerpt, the post meta, and I think I actually have 2 post metas there. So I'll actually disable that as well. And then we can see it changes to look something like that. Or you can add the read more button and, add post meta if you want to do that. So this is where you can kind of customize everything and make it look how you want. There's also a card type. So you can have a simple or a box style. You can change the card gap and also the card inner spacing. So this section controls the actual style and presentation of your blog post. You also have the design tab where you can change the title fonts, the meta fonts, and then the button color, and then also the card divider. So depending on which options you enable, you'll get more options on your design tab that allows you to customize features that you enabled for your specific blog posts. Then we also have the page elements. So if you want to add a sidebar, you can click on sidebar, and then you can enable your sidebar here. You can also have the paginations. There we have the load more button. And then also there is infinite scroll. So that basically means that if you have several blog posts right here, it'll keep actually displaying the blog post just depending on how how long the user scrolls, and that's why it's called infinite scroll. And then you can actually design this tab, so you'll have to change it back to something like load more, and then you can kind of customize the actual design of this specific section. So that's what the pagination is referring to. And then we also have the cards reveal effect, and it's just a different way on how you can kind of make it look different. See how it kind of slides in like that? So you can just kind of change the actual reveal effect. Now, if you are going to use the grid, you should probably not have a sidebar. And if you have something like a classic, I think that's better for the sidebar, right? See, something like this makes a little bit more sense because this style just comes off a little bit more, it just comes off very clustered. And I don't think you need the sidebar if you're going to have that grid style like that. I think that's a little bit more, more cleaner and looks more nicer. Now also on the top right here, we can disable or we can change this specific section. So right here under the blog title, we can have it as type 1 or type 2. Now you can do this for the the category pages and also the archive pages as well. So you can have type 1, type 2. You can also take out the title and you can also change the excerpt as well. Now, I'll be very honest, the excerpt is a very tricky thing to find with the Blocksy theme, but before we jump into that, let me just go ahead and just tell you all that if you want to design anything else, you guys can change everything right here in this specific section. If you want to change this image, you can do that right here, and also add a parallax effect if you want to add a parallax effect to the background of your blog. However, let me talk about the more important things like where to find this text and also how to change this right here. So to find this, what you'll first do is you'll go to your edit page, but I'll open up a new tab right now. So you'll go to your blog page and you'll click on edit page. Now on your blog page, you're gonna notice that you cannot basically edit anything and it doesn't really work because you're currently editing this page. However, with Blocksy, there's a unique feature. So you'll need to click on screen options. You'll need to enable excerpt here. Once you enable excerpt, you will then see this tab where you can go ahead and fill this out about your blog. So this is about your blog. Now, if you do want to change the title of the blog, you'll need to change the title of the page. So this will be something like the blog page or our blog or whatever you want to do. So I'll just do something like our blog. And then I'll click on updates. Now let's go ahead and view the page. So now you'll see that our blog has been changed to our blog, and also how this says this is our blog. So it was very tricky for me to actually find how to do that. So that's just how you can design the title of the blog and the excerpt right here. So now let's say, all right, well, now that we know how to design the blog page and everything else, you can also design everything here under the design tab. I'm not really gonna go through these. These are just the general options on how to design the blog title. Let's talk about the actual post now. So first, I'll click on a post. So to design the blog post, you'll go over here to single post, because remember, we already categorized the blog post page. Now we're going to design the single post page. So let's click on single post. And then we basically have the same exact option. So first, let's talk about the post title. So we can have type 1 or type 2. So you can see here how we have type 1 where it displays the image and everything. And then we also have type 1 where it just basically displays the actual the title of everything. But since I have a white font, so you guys can see, it's hard to see. I do like the type 2, but again, that's up to you. If you want to change the actual style of the fonts, remember, you can go to the design tab and then change the design tab to something like black, or I'm sorry, the was it the meta font? I think it's meta fonts to black. Oh, there it goes. Okay, yeah. So it looked like it was white there. I don't know why I did that, but yeah, so that's how you can change it. However, I'm going to change this back to white, and I'll go ahead and change this back to type 2. Now here you can go ahead and include the post meta, the title, the excerpt, the whatever you want to add right here, you can hide or display them for your specific blog. Now here again, these are the same exact options, so you can just change the alignment. You can add a default or a narrow width, and then you can also change the actual background color. So if you don't want to have the actual featured image of that specific blog post, you can change one to whatever one you want to do, and then you can also add a parallax effect. Now just remember, the featured image is what you set when you actually create the blog post. So just to give you a, just to be very, clear on the same level here, I'll click on the actual blog post. I'll click on edit post. And on the bottom right here, this is the featured image. So this is the image that's displaying here on the background. So you can select none or custom if you want to do that. So yeah, that's just how you can kind of design everything. Now let's just say, for example, you want to add excerpt to this specific blog post. So first you'll go to your post, right? Let's say we're designing a post right here. Under the excerpt tab right here under the actual post, you'll see here how you have to click the gear icon under post. If we scroll down to excerpt, this is excerpt. So essentially you can kind of write, oops, did I spell that wrong? So essentially you can write a specific title for your blog posts. So I'll click on update. All right, cool. So now you can see that we have this is excerpt. So that's how you can kind of hide or add excerpt to your blog post if you want to go that route. We already talked about breadcrumbs earlier, so you can kind of add the breadcrumbs here. You can see our breadcrumbs are working. It used to be really hard to add breadcrumbs, and some themes were not compatible with breadcrumbs. So what happened is people's websites, they broke, and that was the end of it. So, but also we can design everything here. So if you want to design everything on the specific page, like the title font color and everything, this is where you can design the colors and the fonts and everything for your specific post title. So let's go ahead and say, all right, well, let's talk about the actual page. So let's not talk about the actual post title. Let's talk about the post structure. So you can actually have a normal width. You can have a left sidebar or a right sidebar. You can also have a narrow width, which I think looks pretty cool and pretty standard actually. You can have a box style, and then you can also have a vertical top spacing. So this will just give you a little bit more spacing on the top area. And then you can also disable or enable specific features of the actual post elements. So for example, let's say I don't want the actual share box. We can take out this specific share box. And whenever you enable a feature, you will then get this arrow, and this will actually allow you to customize that specific feature. So you can see that there is a lot of options that you can kind of customize within your blog post. So for the author box, we can have it as type 1 or type 2. I do like type 1. I think this is pretty cool. And this right here is where you can put stuff like, hey, I like to go hiking, talk about the author, and that can be filled out in the user profile within your backend. So let me just go ahead and publish this and just kind of show you where you can kind of design that. So under your users, under profile, you will see we have admin, and right here is your biographical info, and that's what will appear right here. So you can see how mine's empty, so this is info. And then update. Just in case you want to, add some decor and style to everything. So once I close this page out, it'll say this is info over here. And then you can add post counts, you can add social icons, and other various things to your current, to your author box as well. So this section right here coordinates with this area. So here you'll need to enter in your social links and put other information about yourself in order to propagate this information about the author box. And then you can design the author box and so on and so forth. You can do the same thing for the share box. So you can have a share box, and then you can design the share box right here, and you can actually just have different styles, and at this point you guys can kind of just go through these and just seeing what works out for you and your websites. They do have a lot of options where you can kind of, if you open one option, it gives you the option to have like 3 or 4 more. What's this module title? A module title. You can see you can have a little cool little message to people saying, hey, make sure to share this to your friends. We spend a lot of time trying to create content for you, and give us money or something like that, or whatever you want to do there. So that's a little quick a nutshell. Sorry, that is the post title page in a nutshell. That's what I meant to say. But yeah, so there is the single post, and that's basically, how you can design your single post. I hope I was very clear on that. Again, if you want to add the sidebar, you can go ahead and enable them here as well. However, there is one thing I do want to talk about that is on the blog post that we need to actually enable in the backend of the Blocksy settings. So here I'll click on Publish, and let's go back to our Blocksy section. So I'll click on Blocksy, and here we have extensions. Now there are some extensions that you can use that will turn other features on. So let's do that. Let's turn on all of these right here. So let's turn on Activate, or no, sorry, not MailChimp. Trending, product reviews, and the cookie consent. And the cookie consent. Let's turn all these on. Let's go back over here. And what I'll do now is I'll go ahead and refresh this page. So one thing I want to talk about too before we go into categories is I want to talk about the actual trending reviews. So on your blog page, if you scroll to the bottom, now you'll see this trending now. So we enabled the trending now extension right here so we can see trending posts. Here you can have other posts, you can have other reviews. You can also select specific time frames of trending and so on and so forth, and then you can go ahead and design it. So that's how you get this trending post section, and you'd have to enable that as, or enable it in the back end right here in order for it to appear. So it's the trending right here. We also do have cookie consents. I do want to jump to that really quickly because it might appear sometimes when people are reading your blog posts. So I know I'm kind of jumping around again, but if users land on your blog post, they might be jumped to, or the cookie consent might appear on that specific page. So right here, cookie consents, it's just a little thing on the bottom left of the screen. And basically it's like a checkbox. And if users go to that, it'll actually display the cookie consents. And if users find your blog post, the cookie consent will probably pop up right there. So you just want to make sure that the cookie consent is enabled. All right, so on the bottom left of the screen, you'll see this is the cookie consent notice. Now this will appear for first-time users, and users can accept because I guess that's what people do. They just click on accept when they go to websites, but that's just accepting the cookies when people visit your website. Now there's also one more feature I do want to mention about the blog posts is that you can actually change the featured image size. So for example, we have the featured image, right? Now, if I click on the featured image, we can actually change the size of the featured image to something like medium or medium large or so on and so forth. So next, let's talk about categories. Now, the good thing about the categories and the author page and the search page is that these settings are all the same as the blog post. So for example, we have the categories here. And if I go to categories, I'll just click on a specific category. You can then design the category page for this specific section. So you can see here how it's a grid. You can also change it to enhanced grid or a simple. I do like simple and the grid. I think those are probably the most ideal. You can also change the page title here. So again, these are the same options as the blog post. So you can go ahead and change it to type 2 like that. And then if you scroll down, you can add a custom background image to your current background here. So I'll just click on select image. I'll choose this one, select, and cool, there we go. And then if you want to change the style and design, you can click on design and then change the font color to something like white. And there you go. And then you can also change the font and everything else. So I'm not going to go through all these options again because these are the same exact options as the blog post. I'm just showing you guys how to design it. Now let's go back here. Now we also have the author page. So let's say, for example, you have multiple authors, right? So here I'll click on admin. So the author page is referring to the people that are currently writing on your current website. So we have admin, and then you can go ahead and change the actual structure for the author page as well. So the author page is basically displaying the author and what blog post they currently have written on the website. So let's say you have a good writer and people want to see more about their contents. You can design the author page for that specific author. And then again, all these options are the same. You can have the page title and you can go through these options and just kind of mess around with and tinker with it and see what works best for you. And then you can also do the same thing for the search page as well. Now the search page can be found when you're looking for specific sections on your websites. So right here, I'll click on the search and I'll just type in Daryl. I don't know. Here we go, Daryl. Now this right here is the actual search results page. So if specific results appear, you can adjust all of them right here. So for the page title again, we can change that. We can take off the title or the subtitle or whatever you want to do, but that's what this page is referring to. So if users search for something and they find multiple blog posts, you can make them appear how you want in the search results. So that's the search page, and that's how you can access it. Now this right here is a custom post type, which I'm not going to be covering because this is created by Elementor and this doesn't apply for a lot of us. However, I do want to talk about the product reviews and the single product reviews, which is a really cool feature. So I recently created an Amazon affiliate marketing website, and we used the actual affiliate product post right here. So you can see how we can start reviewing products, and it has this beautiful template where you can add specific custom post types and an overall score as well. So let me go ahead and show you guys a little bit about how to use that. It is a new feature for Blocksy, and I think that if you're writing reviews, it's a great feature to have on your current WordPress websites. So first, let's go ahead and what we'll first do is I'll close this and let's go ahead and make a post. So on the left side, you're going to see product reviews. Now right here, I'll click on all reviews. This is where reviews are going to be displayed. However, we can create a new one. So let's click on add a new review. So let's add a title for our product that we are going to review. So let's say, for example, I'm going to review a new drone. So drone, the Phantom drone, right? Phantom drone. Now, this is the area where it's going to be your primary content. So if I go right here and I see this meat of the article, this is the actual meat of the article, all right? So when you're writing your post, this is going to be the meat of your article. So this is where you're going to talk all about the drone, and you're going to put your affiliate links in here and just, make it a good single review product post for your, visitors or whatever. And then we'll scroll down, and first I'll probably want to add in a featured image. So under product review, I'll set a featured image and I'll select a picture of a drone, right? Just to give you guys an example. Now we have these general custom post types. So here we have gallery. Now if you add a specific gallery, it's going to appear right here on little small images. So let me just go ahead and add in some images really quick. All right, so I added in these 3 images for my gallery. Of course, it probably needs to be a picture of the drone, but I'm just adding in some just demo images. Now, those demo images will appear right here. So actually, you guys can see it'll appear like that. So anything that you add will appear directly below the featured image. Now, if we go back right here, we're going to see the Buy Now option. Now the Buy Now option displays right here, and you can actually put your specific affiliate link. Let me close that tab. You can put your affiliate link here. So this will be like, Amazon.com dash, affiliate link, or, whatever link that you have so people can purchase the product. You can select a read more, which can take them to another article. It can take them to any other part of your website. Maybe you have alternatives to this specific product, which would be something really cool. And then this would be your small description. Now, whenever you're writing blog posts, you want to have a quick summary. So this is just a quick little, taste of the article, just to let users know what you're talking about and what you might be referring to. So I'll go ahead and paste that right there. And that's what the small description is. So it'll appear directly below your buttons. Now, the next section, we have specs and pros and cons. So over here, we have rating, right? We have the rating tab. And we have the scores, product specs, pros and cons. So the product specs appear right here. So you can see that we have the speed, the battery, just some specifications about the specific product. So first, let's add in some product specs, right? I'll just say this is going to be the speed or the value, and then like cheap. And then we can add in another one like, the drone or the top speed. This could be like 60 miles per hour. So essentially what we're doing here is that we're just basically adding in some product specs about the product just so the user kind of has an idea of what we're going to be talking about. Now we have the pros. So this will be something like, you know, we can go ahead and add in good price, right? A good price. I don't know, fast, right? It's fast. And it's also easy to find or something like that, you know, easy to find. And then for the cons, we can say that this is it breaks easy, right? Breaks easy. You know, hard to get started with, you know, hard to learn. And then maybe it's ugly. I don't know, it's ugly, right? So now it's basically saying that you know, it's ugly. So let me go ahead and update this article really quick, and let me just give you a preview of what we got so far. So I've added in everything except for some content about the article. So here we go. We got the Phantom drone. We have the read more, buy now, quick summary, the specs, we have the pros and the cons, and then we have the meat of the article, which is just like the content and everything else. So what we need to do next is we need to add in the ratings, and these are custom post types created specifically by Blocksy. So let's go back down here and click on the rating tab. Under the rating tab, we can add score. So what we can do here is add in a bunch of default things right here. So we can add in like the value. The value, we can put in the speed, maybe the support, right? So I'll put in the support of this product, and we'll give it like a low score. You know, their support sucks, you know? So, and then we have the popularity, right? Popularity. And then we'll just leave it at that. So I think that's enough information. And once that's done, it's going to automatically propagate this score for our article, which is really cool. So let's go click on update. And now let's click on view product review. All right, so here's our article, and we have some images of the article. I should probably add maybe either 3 or 5 to make it look a little bit more cleaner, right? And then we have the actual value, speed, support, popularity, default, and then it averages out for us. So that's really, really cool. And then they can click and they can purchase our product, or they can click on this and go to read more. We have the quick summary, the specs, the pros, and just some more information about our product. So it's just a really clean way to present your affiliate products, and it's a brand new feature they just introduced. And I think they're gonna add more to this as time goes. You guys can see that this right here is an Amazon affiliate website. And this is like a live kind of like a style. So we added in the social boxes. I threw in this sidebar right here to show them like other things. We have this image and we have this other stuff right here. And then we have the share box. I probably could have even added a author box here, and then we also have the tag. So you can see I did a little bit of work here, and if you guys do want more information on how to build posts like this or any kind of blog post, you guys can check out this tutorial where we kind of go in depth and we talk about how to actually write specific blog posts for affiliate products. It's a really good tutorial. So in a nutshell, that is how you guys can use the product reviews to your advantage using the Blocksy theme. All right, in this section, we're going to talk all about the WooCommerce settings with Blocksy. Now, you guys can make an e-commerce website with Blocksy, and there is so much flexibility and control that Blocksy gives you over your e-commerce websites. Now, in order for you to get the WooCommerce options, you must have the WooCommerce plugin installed. And once you install the WooCommerce plugin, it'll appear, or this option will appear right here that says WooCommerce. Now, if you guys do want help with WooCommerce and you guys need help with it, I have a complete tutorial that goes over every setting in the WooCommerce options, and I'll leave this video in the description below. We cover everything, and we cover shipping, taxes, all the advanced options, and also really cool things like we have an what's this new thing that they have there? It's an e-commerce builder. I'm sorry, an email builder for like your WooCommerce emails. It's really cool. But yeah, you guys can actually go through this video and check it out. But in this video, I'm just going to focus on Blocksy. I'm not really going to talk about the WooCommerce options. So once you guys have the WooCommerce plugin installed, you guys will get this new tab that says WooCommerce. So I'll go ahead and click on this. Now you have 4 different options. You have general, product archives, single product, and the checkout page. So the product archives controls like the shop page and the category pages, and the single product will control the actual product page once you click on the product. But first, let's just go to general. So the general settings right here just basically say, you know, we have this sale badge, and if you want to change the sale badge to something like a circle, you can then change it to a circle. Now, instead of saying sale, you can make it say whatever you want. You can say a specific percent. You can do something like, you know, big deal, big Black Friday sale, or whatever you want to do. So you can do custom, and then you can kind of change it to whatever you want. Also, for those of you who want a store notice, you can add a store notice on your website, and you can have it on the bottom of your website and also the top. Now, this is also good for sale banners. You know, I think people should actually use this specifically for announcements, because by default, people usually install a plugin for this. However, with the Blocksy theme, you can actually use the WooCommerce notice just as a banner, you know, just as a normal banner. I mean, it doesn't even have to involve your products. You can just say, hey, there's a problem with our website, check out our blog, or something like that, you know. But that's that option, and you can change the text there. Also, for the design tab, you guys can change the color of the badges. You can change the color of the actual announcements, and you can change the color of the rating, and so on and so forth. So here we have the quantity main color. So we have the actual quantity main color. I can change this to something like red. Here we go, red. Now, the quantity main color will appear when people actually try to add more of the products to the cart. So for example, I'll go to view products, and I'll scroll down, and now you guys will see that we have this red. So again, remember, the red will appear when people try to add more of a specific product to your cart. It doesn't necessarily appear on simple products. So it'll appear for variable products and also group products. So just keep that in mind. Now, also we have the quantity arrow colors. Now, the quantity arrow colors are actually referring to these specific arrows right here. So let's say, for example, you want these black arrows. You can see how these change. And this is the hover option. So we can change it to anything that we want. So if you hover over it, it's now this yellow. So that's what the quantity arrows colors are referring to. It's referring to these arrows right here. And this will apply for variable products, and it'll also apply for group products. Next, we have the sale badge. Now, the sale badge will appear right here. So this is the sale badge, and you can change the text, and this is the actual color of the background. So let's say, for example, you want a white background. It's now white. So that's basically what that's referring to. Now, we also have the star rating color. Now, the star rating color will be displayed on the single products or any product with reviews, and then also it'll be displayed in your shop. So if they click on the product, it'll display there. Also, if you have the star ratings enabled on the actual shop page, they will be displayed right here, and you can change the color of your star ratings at any time. So that's what the star rating color is referring to. Now, the info message color will be displayed when a user adds something to the cart or there is some notification from WooCommerce. So for example, I'll go ahead and change this text to something like blue, right? Let's change this to a blue. Now, if I add something to the cart, you're going to notice that WooCommerce has these little notices sometimes, and this is the specific notice right here. So it looks like we have to change that color to blue. There it goes. So now there it goes. Now it's blue. So now you guys can see, you guys can design the specific notice right here, and you can also change the background color. So basically that's what that's referring to. Next we have the error, let's see, was it the error message color? So the error message color will be displayed on either your checkout page or on your shop page if there is a problem on your website. Let's say, for example, someone tries to buy something on your website and there is no shipping for that specific country. They will then get the error message color, and the text will be in white, and the background will be in this kind of red color. So that's basically what that's referring to. There are instances where it would pop up here and there, but I just can't really find a good, I can't really find out where an instance to make an error on my website, but if there is, that's what it's going to be referring to. So the notice font color will be displayed on this message right here. So you can see we have the notice font color. We can change this to something like black, and then you'll see how this is changing. For some reason, it's all supposed to, there it goes, all right. And then you have the notice background color. So this is what the notice background color is referring to. So yeah, there's just a lot of options here, and at times it can be very confusing. In fact, I myself have to go back and kind of find out, okay, what does this do? What does that do? And so on and so forth. So those are the general options with WooCommerce. Now let's go ahead and talk about the product archives. So the product archives is essentially the page of the shop. So it's your shop page. So this is my current shop page, and you can see we have type 1 and we have type 2, right? So we have see how this looks here. I think type 2 adds a shadow. Yeah, so it's kind of like a shadow right here. And you can add these specific rows and columns. So we have 4 columns right here. 1, 2, 3, 4, and we have 3 rows. You can change that to something like 3 rows or 4, 3 columns and 4 rows. So it just depends on how you want to approach your websites. And you guys can, have fun and knock yourself out and, design your website as you please. So next we have the card options, and the card options are essentially how you want your products to be displayed. So let's say you want to take out the star rating. We can take out the star rating. We can also take out the sales badge. You can also add in product categories if you want to do that. So let's say these are categorized. You can go ahead and display your product categories here. If it doesn't work, you guys will need to actually just click on publish, and then you guys can go ahead and just, it'll display, but sometimes you have to just close the theme customizer to get it to work, and that's just how it is. So I'll go ahead and enable all of these. Now we also have cards gap, so you can choose a specific gap for your products. I think 30 pixels is really good. You can change the image ratio and have a hover effect. So you can have a zoom hover effect, where if they hover over it, it'll have this kind of zoom effect, which looks really nice actually. That's kind of like ISO. And then you have swap images, which I believe will go ahead and swap the image if they have other product images in the image gallery. So basically you'd have to add a product image to the gallery and then it'll display like that. So some of them have them, some of them don't. So that's just something to consider if you have other images on your products. So let's go back over here to the design tab. Now the design tab again is the same thing. So you can design the title color, which is this color, the price color, the category color, the button text color, and then the card background color, and then you can add a card shadow to it if you want to do that. So that's just basically what the cards options are. They are referring to the actual products themselves on your shop page. Now you can also go ahead and add in new things, like you can add a sidebar, shop results count, shop sort, pagination. So if you want to have a pagination here at the bottom, you go and add that as well. And you can design the pagination if you have one here at the bottom. So the pagination again is just referring to, like if there's more products, go to page 2. And you can do more things like next preview, load more, and infinite scroll. These are very similar to the blog post features. So if you have more products, it'll be displayed at the bottom of the page. All right. So let's go back here. And then we also have the product catalog. So you can actually control what displays on your shop. So the shop page displays what? Well, I want to show categories. I want to show categories and products, or I just want to show the categories and products. Now, if you do want to show just categories, make sure you upload an image into your categories section in the WooCommerce backend, because if you don't have an image, then these images will be displayed by default, which are just placeholders. So you'll need to go ahead and go to the backend here. Let me go ahead and walk you through how to do that just in case you're not sure. So under the, I believe it's under the products, we have categories. And under the categories, you'll go ahead and put an image right here. And then that will basically put the image here. So that's basically what that's referring to. All right. And then that's pretty much it for the product archives. Now, of course, you guys can always add a page title as well. This is very similar to the actual blog as well. So you guys can go ahead and design this. And these are the same exact options for the blog. So if you guys remember, we talked about it earlier. If you want to design this section, you'll have to go to the page itself. So let me just go ahead and just take you to the page. For those of you who just kind of skipped around and you didn't follow the previous section, which is fine because some of you might just want to know about the WooCommerce settings. So under the shop, I'll click on edits. And then here we go. Or is it the shop page? I think it's actually this page here. Let's see here. Yeah. So take your adventure to the next level, which is our shop page. So remember, for your shop page, the title of the actual shop page will be displayed right here. So that's basically what that's referring to. I'll just go ahead and click on edit here really quick. And yeah, so you have take your adventure to the next level. I think you can add some sort of excerpt here as well. I'm pretty sure you can add some sort of excerpt right here. You can add some sort of additional content. Let's see here. This is content. And I'll update that. I'm actually not sure. I'm not going to edit this. I kind of want to know for myself here if you can add excerpt. I don't think you can. Actually, you have description, so I think you could. So let's go ahead and publish this and find out. We're gonna find out right now here. We're gonna go ahead and refresh this page. I believe you can. And all right, there it is. So if you guys do want to add more to your page, just remember you'll go to the excerpt section and then you'll add in more content here. So you can put something here like Black Friday deals or whatever you want to add to your website. So just remember that this is the page title and then this is the excerpt section, page title, excerpt section. Okay, I hope that was clear, guys. I hope I made a lot of sense there. So, and then you can go ahead and design it and you can change the style. You can also change the image as well, and you can also add a custom image and of course add a parallax effect to this back end right there. So that's basically what the page title is referring to. And I think by now you guys might get an understanding of the Blocksy theme, because the page title, the blog post, and the blog page are essentially the same settings. They're just kind of rearranged. You know, they're rearranged the same way actually. They're pretty similar. But for this section right here, I'll go ahead and just show products. I kind of want my products to be displayed here by default. I don't like the categories. I think it's too much clicking for me and my visitors, in my personal opinion. Now let's go ahead and talk about the single product. So let's say, for example, someone clicks on a product, right? Now, when they click on a product, you can also design the single product page. So by default, we have this normal width, right? And then we have this narrow width. So there's 4 different page structures. You can see it's more narrow. You can also add a right sidebar, and then you can add a left sidebar. So that's just if you want to have a sidebar to your your website. And then in order to add the widgets, you'll just go to the widget section, and then you can add in widgets on your WooCommerce sidebar. So again, for those of you who don't know where that is, I'll just go ahead and just walk you through that, because people leave me comments saying, well, Daryl, you didn't go through this section and I don't know what to do now. And so the WooCommerce sidebar, so that's what that's referring to. So I'll just drag in something here, like just stuff right here, and then just, there we go, and click on done and go back here. So now what I'll do is I'll go ahead and refresh the page, and there we go. So we have the quote, and the Facebook like box didn't appear. That's probably because I have to add my fan page, but you guys get the point, right? So if you add the sidebars, you can go to the back end and you can add widgets, and it must be in the WooCommerce sidebar section. And then for the product gallery, you can change the width and then all these other additional settings. Now these settings are essentially the same thing as like the blog post. So let's say, for example, you want to change the product elements. You can hide or enable certain elements on your page. So let's say, for example, you don't want to have the sale badge, right? Maybe not on this product. You can disable it on this specific, on your product pages, and then you can go ahead and turn it on. So you can turn on and off product elements. Now you can also customize the add to cart. So we have this add to cart here, right? But under the design tab, you can change the actual add to cart button itself. So you can change the font color, the background color, and all these other options right here. So yeah, that's if you want to change the actual add to cart button. And then you can change the width of it to make it smaller, or you can make it bigger. Now remember, guys, if it doesn't, so you can see here, oh, there it goes. All right. But if you see a setting that doesn't work, don't panic. Just go ahead and publish it and then close the theme customizer, and then everything should work just fine, all right? So don't panic, right? And yeah, here we have the page elements. So you can add the related upsells. You can add product tabs, which are already open, which are these right here. Related upsells and what is that? Related and upsells. I think they mean cross-sells and upsells, right? That's what this is right here. So these are your upsells, and then the cross sells would be at checkout. All right, is that right? That's correct. Yeah. So, and lastly, we have the sticky summary and the Ajax add to carts. Now, the sticky summary will make your description of your product sticky, and the Ajax add to cart will add the product instantly to the cart and not make users wait. So I think it's a good thing to leave the Ajax add to cart by default. It's just a faster way for people to check out on your current e-commerce website. Now also we have the checkout page, and the checkout page is pretty standard. So what this will allow you to do is that it'll allow you to make certain areas hidden, optional, or required. Now this is perfect for digital download websites, because sometimes you're dealing with digital download websites, you don't need all of your address and everything to display. So you guys can actually choose to hide the address line 2. You can hide the phone number. You can also hide the company name field as well. And then you can also select your privacy policy and also your terms and conditions right here if you want to do that. And you can also display the checkout form, the coupon form again on your checkout, just in case people actually forgot to put it on the cart page. So that's just what the options here are referring to. Now, I also do want to mention one more thing that a lot of users get confused about with Blocksy. So this is my add to cart, right? Now, these options right here, these are not being able to be edited by the theme customizer. So you actually have to use the header. So let me just go ahead and publish this really quick. And this is a lot of people actually ask me about this in my Facebook group. So what you'll have to do here is first, let's go to customize, and we're going to customize the actual header here. So let's click over here on header. And now we have this icon right here. So let's click on that. And under this design tab, this is where you can start designing the actual background color, the font color, and the icon color. The same thing with the My Account as well. So if you want to change the My Account options, you guys can go ahead and edit this. So just remember that the header is controlling the actual cart itself, and the header is actually controlling the account section as well. I do get a lot of confusion about that with Blocksy. Maybe they should add it in their WooCommerce options. I'm not really sure. Let me know what you guys think about that in the comments below. But yeah, so that would be the total part of the WooCommerce section. All right, so now that we talked about the free version and all that stuff, I know that was a bit overwhelming, right? But now let's talk about the Blocksy Pro version. Now, everything I talked about was the free version. However, Blocksy Pro does offer a lot of really cool features in the Pro, so I'll go ahead and cover all of that in detail in this part of the video. Also, if you guys do decide to buy the Pro version, there is a 10% discount for all of you in the description below of this video. The code Daryl10 will give you 10% off, and there is a 14-day money-back guarantee, so it is risk-free. And the Pro version is actually pretty cool, especially for the header and the WooCommerce option. So let's just go ahead and dive into it. Now, when you install the Blocksy Pro plugin, it gives you these Pro extensions. So it gives you the Adobe Typekit, custom Google fonts, and local Google fonts as well. I'm not really too big onto the font things and everything, so I'm not really even familiar with Adobe Typekit, so that's just something that if you use or you want to add, you can go ahead and add that. It also gives you the custom fonts and the local Google fonts as well. But first, let's talk about the actual header builder. So when you install the Pro version of Blocksy, you get a lot more elements right here. So you get different menus, a search box, socials, and just more additional widgets to add to your header. Also, you get a really cool, I guess you want to say, what's the word, integration, and that's for Translate Press. So with Translate Press, you actually get this new languages little option here, and you can actually offer different languages on your website. Now, the one thing that's a little bit confusing about Blocksy is that you'll need to install plugins in order for these elements to show up. For example, if you don't install the WooCommerce plugin, you won't have the option for like the accounts, the cart, and so on and so forth, like the wish list. And if you don't have the Translate Press plugin installed, you will not have the option for languages. So you need to install those plugins in order to get access to these elements. You can also add dividers everywhere on your website, and I do like this look, and I think they actually give you a really cool example of how you guys can add it on your website here. Let's see if they give it to us here. Oh yeah, right here. You guys can see how there's these dividers. So you guys can kind of add these dividers throughout your menu just to give it that elegant feel and style. So yeah, that would be the header builder in a nutshell. It just offers more elements and just more control over your header. Next, let's go ahead and talk about the hooks. So when you are using Blocksy, you can actually use theme hooks and basically add content anywhere you want throughout the WordPress theme. That might sound a little confusing, but let's go ahead and take a look here. So for example, if you want to add something on this section, you do is you click this pencil and you can insert pretty much anything you want here. You can insert a block, you can insert custom code, you can even insert an Elementor library and add in like a whole new section. But you can go ahead and just kind of insert stuff that you want right here. And you can do that throughout the website. And they do give you a good example of that with the actual WooCommerce areas. So you can see you can do it before the WooCommerce cart, before the products, after the cart, and so on and so forth. So you can add in any content that you want. You can also make the blocks. You can create content blocks, and you can insert those content blocks anywhere you want on your website. So you can use the page builder and insert content anywhere you want throughout the theme. So essentially what they're doing here is like they're kind of basically making it so you can design every specific part of the website. So you don't have to be using the page builder. You can use the theme to kind of get around that. So you'll see here how you can add in stuff pretty much everywhere right here. So if you have a client and they are a total pain in the ass, well, you can insert content anywhere you want on your website. So that's what the hooks is referring to. And it gets like really in the nitty gritty, and it just kind of like, makes things a lot easier for yourself and your client. You can also create a custom 404 page with it, custom footer, role conditions, and so on and so forth. So there's just a lot of things that you can do with the actual hooks. And again, that gets very, very complicated. So unfortunately, I'm not going to go into every single one, but you guys get the main idea here. So, all right. Next, we have the mega menu. All right, let's go and take a look here. So if you notice right here, we have our menu, and we even have this icon right here. Now you can add icon elements to your menu, and you can also have a mega menu, and then you can design this. So I can change the color. I can add little banners like this that says hot. I can add icons, and I can fully customize and design this. Now, what you can also do here is you can use the page builder to actually be implemented on your mega menu as well. So for example, you see this example right here. They are using, I believe it's Gutenberg, and they have inserted a section of Gutenberg. So they've saved the layout, and then they have uploaded it to their mega menu as well. So you can do that with Elementor or Gutenberg, I believe, and I think you can with Brizy. I'm not sure with Brizy, but yeah, so essentially what you would do is make a content block and then insert that content block on to your mega menu. So that's basically how you would get that done. And then here you can see you have this menu item settings on your menus. You can click on this, and then you can make your mega menu full width or content width. You can add a specific number of columns. You can enable, an item label. You can add icons. You can make the icons bigger, and you can put the icon to the left and to the right, and also add in this really cool, text or something. And then you can change the alignment of that text. And then of course you can design all of that. Now you can do that for each specific item or each specific page. So you can see here how I added an icon to every single one. And yeah, that's essentially what you can do. I might have a whole other video on the mega menu. It is very diverse. There's a lot you can do with it, and I think making a second video for that would be a little bit more helpful, because we can talk about that for quite a bit of time. Next, let's go ahead and yeah, you guys got the fonts, right? So we got the 3 fonts, all right. Next, we have custom sidebars, and this is actually a really cool, unique feature I really do like with Blocksy. Now, let's say, for example, you go to your website, right? Here, I'll just go ahead and we'll just go to our website here. Let's see, there we go. All right, so I'll just go to my shop page. Let's just give you a crash course here. Now, with the Blocksy theme, you can add a sidebar here. So what I'll do here is I'll enable the sidebar. All right, so I enabled my sidebar here, and you guys can see that we have our sidebar and we have elements on this right sidebar. Now, let's say, for example, you want to have dynamic sidebars. So what that means is I want to have a sidebar, right? But I don't want this to appear on my blog page. I don't want this to appear on specific pages. Well, you can actually make a custom sidebar for every single page that you want on your website. So, for example, we have this create a sidebar widget area. Now, you guys can see I've already made one here, but what I'll do is I'll just say custom sidebar. And I will click on create a sidebar. All right, now we have custom sidebar. So what I want to add in this sidebar, right? Well, I'll just add the audio, and I will add in, I don't know, about me, and we'll just throw in a quote here. Why not? We'll throw in a quote, right? So we have this custom sidebar with a few elements. We have the quote, about me, and the audio. Now here under sidebar settings, I'll click on this, and we can add a display condition and also a user condition. So what that means is, let's say there is let's say you have a membership website. You can add in a person who's logged in, or you can add in specific people that can only see this sidebar, which is really cool, right? Maybe you want to offer some sort of discount for your students who are logged in. Well, you can offer that. So you can offer sidebars based off of user condition or display condition. Let me give you an example here. So we have this custom sidebar, but where do you want to display it at? Well, I want to display it only on the product tag pages, and that's it. So if they get to the product tag pages, then I want to offer a specific sidebar for that, for those users. So you can see here how like the WooCommerce options is really just kind of like come into play here. So you can add a sidebar for virtually every specific page that you want with Blocksy. Now also let's go ahead and take a look at the what else they got here. So they do add white labeling, so you can go ahead and hide the Blocksy logo and so on and so forth. Custom code snippets, you guys can add custom code snippets on the header, the body, and also the footer for those devs out there. And now we have the WooCommerce Extras. Now, the WooCommerce Extras, again, does offer quite a bit of options. So let's go ahead and go through some of these options here. So first, let's go back to this, and I will show you the shop page, and then we will get into the product page as well. So let's go ahead and drag this over here just to kind of make things easier for me. So the first thing is you get the quick view option. And here you can kind of just take a look at stuff, and you can get a quick view of the products. The next feature is the floating cart. So as the user is scrolling down, you will then see that the product right here kind of like makes it so you can add this to the cart, making it a lot easier. So yeah, so your visitors will always be kind of informed about your specific products. So that is the actual floating cart. The next feature is actually very interesting, and this is the off-canvas filters and the off-canvas carts. Now, let's say, for example, you have a visitor that's shopping on your website and they are on a mobile device and they are on your shop page. If I click on the menu right here, you're going to see that we have this filter by price. Now, you can add specific filters on your current off-canvas menu when users are visiting on a mobile device and they are on the shop page. Now, what's really cool is that if they go to a different page, let's say they go to the About Us page, the filters and everything will disappear. So now you guys can see that those options are gone. So you can add filters specifically to make things easier when users are visiting your website on a mobile device on your shop page. It's really cool. And you can do that again with you can add as many filters as you want. And you can also add in like the cart icon there as well, so they can kind of update their cart on the mobile device. So that is a pretty cool and very unique feature. Next, we have the single product layouts. So let's go ahead and check those out here. I'll go ahead and I'm getting lost here. Here we go. Click on customize. So I just opened up a bunch of tabs, guys, and just did this from scratch because it would be very hard to kind of close and open, close and open. So let's go ahead and go to WooCommerce and go to single product. Now, what's really cool is that you have different options here for the product gallery. So here we have type 1, and then we also have type 2, right? Type 2, there we go. Wait, this is the single product, there we go. So type 2, and we also have type 3, and I like type 3 because this kind of creates this grid look to it, and it works really well in conjunction with the sticky summary. And then you also have type 4 as well. Now you can also change the number of columns. So there is just a lot of control that you get with this option. So you can kind of go for that high-end ISO look, or you can kind of just choose something very ordinary, and then you can adjust the gallery width and style and so on and so forth. So you do just get a lot more options with the actual Pro version when it comes to comparison with other WordPress themes. So yeah, that's that. Then we also have the gallery slider. So the gallery slider will control, it just creates a little slider right here. So it just kind of makes your products that you can kind of slide through them. It just adds a little bit more to your site. And you guys can see on this product page, it just looks really cool, really unique. And yeah, so that's just a quick example of how you guys can design your single product pages. And let's go back over here. Now, the multi-step checkout and the distraction-free checkout, I don't have that available yet, guys. So essentially, you're just going to probably skip the cart page and just go directly at checkout, making things a lot easier to purchase on your websites. And lastly, we have the enhanced footer builder. Now, this is the same exact options with the header, so I'm not really going to explain it. However, you can have a specific footer for pretty much every page. You do also get multiple footers, and you also get more elements on the footer. So very similar to the actual header. The same thing applies to your footer. And there's more to come. So you get the advanced blogging extension coming soon and all these other features that are coming soon. So yeah, that's pretty much it, guys. Now, if you guys do have any questions for me about the Blocksy theme, feel free to let me know in the comments below. I do think it's a very good theme for WooCommerce and blogging. And again, I have a 10% discount for all of you in the description below of this video. I hope this tutorial helped you guys out. I hope I was very clear, and if I went too fast, I apologize. I just wanted to kind of go over everything and make sure you guys fully understand the features with Blocksy. So if this tutorial helped you guys out, make sure you guys give me a big thumbs up and let me know in the comments what you think about this WordPress theme in the comments below. My name is Daryl Wilson, and I will see all of you party people in the next video, guys. Take care.